Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Keep Swing. I'm your host, Matt Stucko. Today we have JRSportbrief with us. He is, man, I don't even know how to describe you because you pretty much do everything, whether it's creating videos, you're on the radio, you're on television, you're on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. It's just nuts, the empire that you've been able to build for yourself. So JRSportbrief, born J.R. Jackson, thank you so much for joining us today.
Nah, no doubt about it, Stuck. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate you. And congrats to you on all the success and everything that you've been up to, man. So it's a pleasure to be here, brother.
Awesome, man. And we go way back, so I mean, this is great that we're able to do this. And right now, everybody is going to learn a thing or two about us that's valuable information that you could hopefully apply to yourself or whatever it is that you're doing. So we are here for you. I'm going to start off this way. You've interviewed everybody from Lisa Leslie to the late, great Kobe Bryant to, man, Pele, Kevin Hart. So many people. But it all started in your bedroom with what? Shoe boxes and a snack table and a camera. Can you just tell us about how this journey of yours started?
So I started off in production, and I started JRSportbrief about 11 years ago, actually, which is crazy to say because I'm still young, you know. But I was just getting into college, and I was working in production. My uncle was a DJ named Fat Man Scoop, so I kind of grew up doing menial tasks and going to concerts and helping out here and there. And then I ended up interning at Vibe magazine and kind of started, went and did my own thing and worked with independent musicians and folks just to get their own selves going online. And I had a TV producer named Fred Seibert. This is like 2009 when the internet and internet video was really starting to grow on YouTube. There was a change in YouTube from just like silly cats playing a piano or kids jumping around in the backyard, and they were starting to produce content. And Fred basically said, hey, instead of producing all this work for other people, why don't you just start your own show? I know you like sports. So that's exactly what I did. I took him at his word. I went home and did exactly what you just said. I put an old Sony Handycam I had in my closet. I put it down on a snack table, some shoe boxes, and I started riffing on Gary Sheffield saying that he should retire. And then from there, I just kept putting out videos and kept putting out content. And I applied the same principles that I would tell to other people. I applied it to myself. Just be consistent, put out a plan. And so I did that. I grew an audience, became a part of many different communities on YouTube. Twitter wasn't what it is now. Instagram, I don't even think existed at that point in time. Teams didn't utilize social media. It was still kind of, it's ESPN, the New York Times, the LA Times, and then there's the internet. And we see how just the whole world has changed to social media right now. So I was early to the game, and I've been able to just keep pushing out content, and people started to pay attention.
See, that's what I love about your story is the fact that you're a real go-getter. You did it all by yourself. I mean, nobody told you that you had to go into your closet and pull out a Sony Handycam and just start recording a video and throw it up on the internet. Like, you did that all by yourself, and the reason why I listed all those names is just to show how far you can come just by getting started. You don't need a huge fancy production. You don't need to be in the studio. You don't need to do anything. I mean, right now, where we're doing this podcast from, I mean, it's in the second bedroom. I got a camera over there, a camera over there. They're all iPhones, they're handy cams. It's just so makeshift. And right now, you're at home yourself too, so you don't need all the fancy stuff in order to get your career started. And that was just the very beginning for you.
Yeah. Now it was the beginning. I mean, people started to pay attention. Like, a lot of people will get discouraged because everybody has to start somewhere. There are very few instances where it's boom, you put yourself online and, you know, now you have the whole world captivated by what you do. And then even if you do, a lot of times it's, do you want to have longevity in what you do, or do you want to be a flash in the pan? I could think of plenty of people, not just necessarily in sports, but in all areas. I mean, how many times have you seen a video or someone go viral and then you go, what happened to that person? I would rather have longevity and stability and know that what I'm doing is going to last rather than just have one big hit out of the box. So sponsors started to pay attention to what I was doing on YouTube. Agencies and PR companies, hey, do you want to interview so-and-so? Hey, do you want to travel here to do an event? Hey, do you want to cover this product? And then the television networks started to reach out and pay attention just because of the audience that I grew online. I've had more than 80 million people come through my YouTube channel at one point or another and watch more than 1,000 videos, which is crazy to say that I have more than 1,000 videos on YouTube. And a lot of that came just in a span of a few years, so people pay attention. If you do the work, you're out there, people will eventually see what you got going on.
Well, you mentioned YouTube. You have well over 100,000 subscribers at the time of this interview. You have over 30,000 followers on Instagram, Twitter. You always crush it over there. But would you say that YouTube's kind of been your baby per se?
Yeah, YouTube was a start for me. YouTube was the place for video when I got started in 2009. If someone were to start a sports blog today, I would encourage them to utilize all of the video platforms that are out there. Instagram is a great place. So YouTube is still a great place. I still see a lot of longer form shows similar to what I did 10 years ago that are now on YouTube. So I'm happy about that. Twitter is a good place. It depends on where you can build the audience. And, right now, YouTube is still great for longer form shows. You can still push out solid content on Instagram, and the same thing is with Twitter. But for me, for where the world was at that time, YouTube was that space, and it kind of still is. I mean, now you can watch television shows, and they have carriage agreements and licensing agreements with regular cable stations. So YouTube is still a place. But for me, yeah, that's where I got started.
So what would your advice be to somebody who's listening who maybe they want to start a cooking YouTube channel, or it could be anything, an arts and crafts YouTube channel, a sports channel? Of course, a lot of people are creating channels and it may seem oversaturated right now, just as like podcasts are or anything else. Just people want content. So even though you may start off with 0 subscribers or 0 followers, the way that I think about it is that don't even think about that aspect of that 0 when it comes to followers or subscribers. It's more just like create. So what would you say to somebody who does want to start a YouTube channel or whatever it may be?
It's all about starting with a plan. Like, you got to have a plan first. And first, you have to be passionate about what you're doing. You can't do it because somebody suggested it to you and you thought, oh, well, I'll go ahead and give this a try. It depends on what you want out of it. If you want to create a business, if you want to see if your hobby sticks, it doesn't matter. You won't unlock the full potential unless you really care about it. That's first of all. And then next, have a plan. I think a lot of folks will look at it and say, oh, well, I want to try this. I like it. I'll put it online, whether it's a cooking show or, a political show, whatever the case may be, whatever it is, like, lay it out, commit to it. Say, I'm going to try this for 2 months or 3 months. I like to tell people, if you really want to go for something, try it out for 2 to 3 months. Lay out a solid plan. You have to think about something like a YouTube channel or Instagram page. You got to think about it like a programmer. Think about it like traditional TV or radio. If you are listening to your favorite radio station and your favorite show comes on the radio every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. when you get off of school or you take a break at work, imagine one day you built up a few listeners slowly but surely. But then let's say on Thursday, you just didn't feel like doing it. And your listeners or viewers tuned in to listen or watch, and you weren't there. Like, you lose people so quick. People have so many options. So you have to lay out what you're doing. So if you're doing a cooking show, it's real simple. How much content can I produce? What type of content can I produce? Do I give you Friday, we're going to do drinks and cocktails that pair well with meals to get you ready for the weekend? Is it Monday where we talk about, fit food for Fit Monday? Is it Wednesday? Is Wind Down Wednesday? So these are a quick, simple meal you could do in the middle of the week, just because you're busy. And it's like, okay, well, I can do 3 videos a week. Let me lay that out every single week. And I think it's a commitment, because people see the internet as, I can throw something up and hope it works. But it's like anything else. The more you plan out, the more you research, see what's out there. And depending on how committed you are, you can have some solid success. And then I think that's a good sample size, 2 to 3 months. If you are consistent, you can see what growth is. And you never know what's on the other side. Like, if you stop, like, you can keep going and going and going and then stop. And then it would be that one video that you might get an email from someone saying, hey, I want to collaborate, or hey, are you interested in this product? So passion and commitment and planning can go a long way.
Guys, we're listening to JR Sport Brief. He is sharing a lot of valuable information right now, so I hope you're at home taking notes, doing something, because, dude, you are wheeling right now and dealing. So one thing that you said that really sticks out in my mind is that you mentioned that if you put out videos every day during the week, or if you have a schedule where you put out a specific video, and if you don't put it out on that Thursday where you always put a video out on that Thursday, you do leave the viewer wondering, where is this guy? Or maybe a little bit of disappointment where it's just like, oh man, I thought I was going to get a new piece of content from JR.
Right.
Well, on the internet, it's almost like if you don't post anything for 3 days, that's usually what they say, is that people forget about you. So people can forget about you just like that. So it is extremely important to plan out. So I guess like when it does come to YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, and all the other social media platforms, a lot of times like you'll hear people say, try to dominate one before starting others.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on tackling all different types of social media when it comes to where to start and which one people should be doing?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think there's no right answer for any of this.
Yeah, I feel the same exact way. Yep.
It's using all of the tools available to you to kind of supplement and help everything else out. When I started on my YouTube channel, for me, Twitter was a perfect advertiser for me to drive people back to my YouTube. I could put up a reaction video after a Lakers game or after a boxing match. But during the course of that boxing match, I'm on Twitter and I'm kind of just, it's like town hall or hanging out at the bar. I'm talking to people while we go through the sports. Twitter is great for live events. So what I do is awesome. And then at the end, I can say, hey, I just put up a video, and I can drive traffic from my Twitter to my YouTube channel where I can run ads, where I can't do that the same way on Twitter. Instagram is a different space right now. People can post on Instagram and you can drive from Twitter. And, I used Facebook to have even larger conversations. And I used to do a segment called Fan Friday, and I used to just put the question out there, and people would give me questions that I would include in that video. And sometimes I would get hundreds of responses just on my Facebook page. And that wouldn't be something that I can easily do on Twitter the same type of way without just getting random responses. So, each social media page or channel or platform, they each have their gives and their takes. So I wouldn't say one over the other. Look at the marketplace and see where people have had success. I mean, it's common sense, I think, for most people who are active. Who's going to start a video blog on Twitter? You can do it. It would be a cool concept, but it would also be very unique. And you can't monetize the same way. You might be able to promote, you might be able to put out viral content, but it depends on your goal. So each platform has its own, gives and its own takes.
I agree 100%. And you brought up the Fan Friday videos that you used to do. Some of those videos right now have over 500,000 views on YouTube. And again, everybody listening, JR has over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's just building his platforms left and right. This guy knows what he's talking about. And these Fan Friday videos, again, 500,000 views. And the power of engagement, if you go to one of those videos, if you go to any of your social media posts, you always respond. And people love to see that. They feel a connection when you do that. So that is one of the biggest ways to grow your channel. So if you do decide to start a YouTube channel or Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, whatever it is, engagement is so key to growth and success. And that's something that you've been able to do so well. Even in your first video, your tagline, that's how you introduce yourself is you're here to talk with the fans, and that's what social media is about. Social. You got to be social.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it's 2020 now. It was 2009 then. And I don't necessarily believe in going backwards. You can take the elements of what have already existed and build on top of them. So now I have my show on CBS Sports Radio. And for me, it's no different but a different platform to engage with people. I can still listen to sports talk radio right now and listen to somebody talk to themselves for 4 straight hours. To me, that's boring. Like I would bore myself to death if I did that. Like it's like we have the actual human beings listening on the other side of the speaker. Why not engage them? So I don't believe in necessarily talking to people. I will express my opinion, but then I'll solicit the opinions of others and frame them in an entertaining way. You know, so it's not about, hey, I'm on the radio, hey, I'm on TV, hey, this is what I think, it's law. It's about engagement. Like that's the cool part of being on the internet. I mean, if this was another generation, it, maybe it would be different. You watch TV, you watch me. You watch the movie, you watch me. But now in a space where we have social engagement, I think it's ridiculous not to engage the people who watch, because I am a person. I'm not just a caricature. I'm not just a person that is here to just talk and talk and talk. So it's boring as hell to me. So
Exactly. You don't want to be a billboard.
no. So I want to engage with people, and engagement is strong. It's really how you brand build, and not that I'm somebody who walks around saying, "Hey, I'm JR from JR Sport Brief," but the folks who know me for my engagement, know me for being straightforward and being a little bit more personable than just, hey, this is what I think, and if you think opposite, it's wrong. That's dumb to me, especially in the era that we move in. And it's a reality. We're not going to stay in a place where it's watch me, listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. Every single year, because of digital and social media, we move closer to people being connected online. We're not moving further away from it. So if people don't embrace the social aspect of social media, you're behind the eight ball. And that doesn't matter what medium you're operating in.
Yeah, you like you said, you'll attract fans, and also too, you'll attract the brands. You're out there working with AT&T doing a fun football commercial, or going overseas covering some sort of soccer tournament. Even the Olympics in London, you have brands coming after you to do that type of stuff that really fits your mold. And you're not out there on Instagram posting a picture with some sort of teeth whitening or protein powder, whatever the heck it is, where people think that, hey, it's so easy to become a quote unquote influencer. Let me just go online and post all these pictures and look like a billboard. So like you have these opportunities that cross your plate. You've done a great job with making sure that they've all been within your lane, but also too while expanding in all different types of ways.
Yeah. I mean, I would create content, and I would go out and search and find content. And a lot of times you'll have brands have gotten, you have to, the places you name, like Colgate or whatever the case may be. It's not just, I'm going to buy an advertisement and run a commercial. They've also had to change and move with the times. They have to be creative. They have to utilize creative people online. You can spend a lot of money on TV. You can spend a lot of money on radio, but it'd be ridiculous to ignore all of the people who produce content online. And that's something else online has been able to do, is build niche markets of just highly concentrated people who are only involved and into what they're into. And this is what we've seen over the past 20 years, since you could go into a chat room, or I forgot what they called it, a message board, where you would only have people interested in specific things. Before, we didn't have that. You had to, I don't know, go to the library and be a part of a club. Well, now you can reach all of those people right here in your phone. And so brands attack that, and they look for people who are authentic to what they're doing. And if you can build an audience, you don't have to have 1 million followers or Instagram subscribers or whatever the case may be, YouTube, just to go ahead and have somebody pay attention. If you are a fitness page and people see that you have consistency and that you're building a following, there's nothing saying that a brand wouldn't reach out to you to say, okay, we see what you're doing. This is consistent. You have a strong audience, not just a fly by night. Let's see if we can give you a couple $100 a month to help promote our product. So that's why I say consistency, because money runs with consistency. Nobody's gonna write a check. A brand isn't going to pop up if they see that you're a fly by night, or they see that you don't have a commitment, or that you don't have an audience. It's real simple. It may sound wild, but if I have an ad budget and I'm looking forward to trying to figure out how I can allocate the money, if you have an Instagram page and I'm going through 5 different IG channels and you have a lot of followers, but I see that you don't post often and your audience isn't as engaged, I'm going to go to the person who posts more consistently. I'm going to go to the person who looks like they engage, and I'm going to give the money to them, as opposed to someone who just has a million trillion followers, but they don't look like they're there or they're interested. So that's real important. A lot of times your work and what you do speaks for itself. It's just a matter of people finding it. It's a matter of you putting it out there. And if you're successful in that, you have a better chance of attracting money and then also brands.
Guys, he's really sharing some great information right now. So I hope you're all listening. And JR, one of the keys that you said to this success is consistency. And that's actually what this podcast is all about when it comes to consistency and finding success through that, which is why it's called Keep Swinging. You're by far one of the most humble people who I know and who I've known. And actually, you are probably the most humble person I know in the sports and entertainment industry that I've ever come across. If you can, just like pull back the curtain just a little bit, if you don't mind, and just share with everybody some of the things that you've been able to accomplish in the past 5 years, whether it is the regular television appearances. You mentioned before you're on The Fan on the weekends, just to show listeners and viewers on YouTube what hard work and consistency can do for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to start off, consistency is key. And just as an overall, I don't want to go off the side of the road here, but people quit too easy. People quit too easy. If you have a plan, if you have a full evaluation of who you are, if you're honest with yourself, if you research and understand the market, you can plan things out. Like I like to cook, okay? People don't know that. I don't get a chance to cook as much as I want. But the reality is, if I decided to start something, a cooking channel, like it wouldn't work. I can go and start one, but I'm not committed to it the same way that I'm into sports. You know, I've been watching sports like a lot of people since I was young. I would go ahead and flip through the newspaper to look at box scores. I would listen to sports on the radio if I couldn't have it or watch it on TV. And I think people, that's the start. Like I said, lay out what you want to do for 2 or 3 months. But I feel people quit too easy, or people don't want to take the punches. Nothing I have done has been easy. You know, there have been plenty of times after a fight on a Saturday night where I said, I don't want to put up a YouTube video. But you know what? I knew it was going to be best for me to keep building what I do. There have been plenty of days where I did not want to go and film a video. Like, I would put up a YouTube video on a Thanksgiving, after a Thanksgiving game. And this was before we had the cell phone where I could just kind of pop up and go live. Like, I literally had to film on a video camera. I had to upload the footage. I had to quickly edit the footage. I had to put it out. And sometimes I could get something done in 30 minutes or less. Depending on what it was, it could take me an hour, sometimes more. And so these were things that I did at the onset to kind of put my stake in the ground. And so you talk about being humble. Like, I enjoy what I do, and it's about the work. And so right now I have a national show on CBS Sports Radio that I do every single weeknight. We just started in March, and the response has been great. I've had on a lot of amazing guests. Just had on Terrell Davis and Jamel Hill, talk hoops with Channing Frye. And I mean, there's just so many people. Every week I have on just tons of guests, depending on what's going on in the sports world. And then on weekends in New York City, I'm on WFAN. It's where I started on radio in 2018. In 2019, I went down to Atlanta. Georgia wanted to have me on and put me on a morning show, and then also do the sports as well. I'm a contributor to NBA television. I mean, there's a lot that I do. More recently, I've been working with KTLA to do some of their sports. So yeah, it's fun. I've worked with SNY. I've worked with CNN and Headline News. I mean, I can go on. Bleacher Report is how me and you met. There's just a lot of places, both digital and television, that I've worked with. So it's cool to have a national show on CBS. WFAN is obviously New York City is the biggest media market in the country. So to be on the sports leader, pretty much the first real big successful sports talk radio station is great. And yeah, when we get back to normal basketball next season, I look forward to being back on with NBA TV. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh man, so I got the chills. And I'm sure right now you probably missed a job or two in between that really stuck out. That's how many things that you've been able to do and accomplish over the years. Again, people, JR started with pulling a camera out of his closet, putting it on a snack table, on some shoe boxes, and now he's just been able to do and be so successful through consistency over the years. And before we go on to your character and wrapping up, there was something that you mentioned about how on a Saturday night, if you were watching a boxing match, after the boxing match, you wouldn't be in the mood to put up a video, and it takes 30 minutes and it takes an hour to actually get the video up and upload and process the footage and whatnot. But I can't tell you how many times when I was covering minor league baseball for almost 10 years on a Friday, Saturday night, you go down to Trenton, you go down to Lakewood, you're right on the Jersey Shore where I'm from, and your friends are so confused and texting you and wondering why you're at a minor league baseball game and why you are not at the bar at some of the best bars and beaches in New Jersey. And explaining to them at that time, they are kind of confused. Your really close friends understand, but not everybody understands until the 8 years after, when they see that, like, oh, hey, Matt's at a major league ballpark now. Or, oh, hey, Matt's on television, Matt's on whatever. So to your point of doing it even when you don't want to do it, and making sure that you do it, whether it's a Monday night or a Saturday night when all your friends are out, you really have to stay tunnel vision. Like, you can't lose focus.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's true. If you want to stand out, you have to do things that stand out. If you want to be a standout, if you don't want to be usual, if you want to be unusual, you have to do different things. There's convention and then there's unconventional. That's what stands out. If everybody is doing the same thing, then everything is going to be the same. The results will be the same. I can't tell you how many people, when I started JR Sport Brief, and it's not a lot, but I was putting myself on YouTube. And I'm not like you said, I'm humble, but I'm not a, hey, rah, rah, look at me type guy. I can have fun. And that's why I stick to talking about what's going on in sports. But I would have folks who would reach out and friends and say, are you okay? Like, you're not in school anymore. You're not working. You're just doing YouTube. Are you fine? And it's just like, yeah, I'm doing okay. Like, I did YouTube for an entire almost year and a half, and until I was able to stop all other work for productions and then just do what I do full time. And I don't forget, I like the fact that you bring up just taking the camera out of the shoebox. Like, I do not forget that when I walk into Turner Studios and, you walk onto a big set and Gary Payton or Shaq is on the other side of the room, and then you step in. I do not forget that when a big robotic camera swings in front of me, and I don't forget any of that. I don't forget that when I go live on the radio at night and I say, okay, this is a huge national platform. I have people reach out, and that's the other beautiful thing about YouTube and just the internet. It's global. It's worldwide. I have an audience. I can look at my stats and numbers and say there are a lot of basketball fans in Germany who watch just to hear what I say. There are basketball fans in the Philippines who want to know what I say. There are boxing fans in Australia who come and look. And so when I go live now, it doesn't matter if it's TV, it doesn't matter if it's radio, it doesn't matter if I'm holding up my phone. I do not take for granted or forget all of the work that it took for me to get there and where I started. And so, yeah, no, it's to your point. If you want to do something that a lot of people are not doing, what are you doing that's different? Like, I trust me, I would love, like a lot of people, to just, put my feet up on a Friday night. Well, guess what? I'm on the radio Friday night. And so everything is is a building process. And if you enjoy it, it's the small sacrifices that just keep you building and keep you going.
Yeah, and I think that's where we are extremely similar, is that we do remember the very beginning. Again, one of the cameras in this room right now is the camera that I had while covering minor league baseball at the very beginning, and we're here today. So JR, man, thank you so much. I mean, you just shared some valuable information. I know I said it over and over throughout the interview, but you shared some great stuff. And everybody listening to this, I hope you're inspired. I hope you're motivated. I hope if you've been thinking about doing that cooking show or that fitness channel that you haven't over the last 3 months, maybe you will today. If you don't do it today, maybe you'll start the plan and start it tomorrow. So JR, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, where can the people find you? Like I said before, you stay engaged with everybody. So where can everybody go say what's up?
Every social media platform, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everything is at JRSportbrief. So at JRSportbrief, all information is there.
JRSportbrief. Thank you so much, brother. Always a pleasure.
No doubt about it, Stuck. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching that episode of Keep Swing. Man, we have so many more awesome guests on the way, and I don't want you to miss any of it. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, feel free to go back and watch past episodes. And again, if you subscribe to the channel, that is the best way to find out who we are going to have on the show next. And if there's a guest that you want on the show, I will do all that I can to have him or her come on. So please leave a comment. Let me know who you want to see on Keep Swing coming up. And also, too, feel free to leave a comment what you thought about the episode in the comment section below. Give it a like. And if you head over to Instagram, I'll be posting clips from all these interviews. Just a little daily inspiration. And there you can interact with me as well. Until then, have an awesome day and keep swinging.